Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of Spooky Japan podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. All right. I've never been to Japan, but I do hear that there's a lot of spooky stuff that goes on over there. I'm really interested in knowing more about that. I like cultures that embrace ghosts or at least acknowledge them. So, from what I understand, that's pretty part of the course. Would you say that's the case?
It
Mhm,
is part of the culture here to be respectful of the ancestors who passed.
mhm,
However, paranormal is not really it's a taboo thing here. So you
mhm.
don't have paranormal investigators here or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh man, so
This,
it'd be hard to get haunted discoveries. Uh, Japan going over there. Are there some regions that are more open to it than others?
I don't. Yeah, I haven't found there is because, like I said, I mean, I searched. That's one of the first things I did when I got over here was search for paranormal teams, and there's just not any.
no, it's just us.
So I am talking to the resistance right now. We're at
Pretty
ground
much, yeah,
zero.
you are. That's actually
Yeah.
what Irene said when I met her. I was like, "Yeah, I've been trying to look for the paranormal community," and she's like, "Congratulations, you found it,
That
all
is
of it."
absolutely fantastic. I love that. All right, cool. It's nice not having a lot of choice. So when I go out there and I want to go on an investigation, I know who to contact.
Oh yeah, it's just be us.
I started laughing when she asked, "Is there any other paranormal team here?" I go, "No, it's just me and you." And she goes, "Oh my god!" That's what's cracking up, and
Just
she's
bragging
laughing
to
right now.
everyone because I was doing a paranormal thing back in the United States. So I was like, when I get to Japan, I'm gonna be hard into it, meet with all the teams, and I'm like, well, I guess I technically did it. I met the
Wow,
paranormal
you're
team.
fast. You work fast, man. You came, you saw, you conquered. That was wonderful. Wait, well, where some place? Have you guys investigated there?
Not yet, but there are some she has gone to some places. There's obviously places around me here in
What?
Nagasaki,
Yeah,
especially here. I have more tragic spirits, and then she has more of the suicidal ones around her.
yeah,
So I guess different parts of Japan
yeah.
have more
Yeah.
different kinds of spirits, I guess.
Hmm.
I've heard stories from folks who were either stationed there or worked there for 2-year contracts and stuff, and friends from college or people I knew, and they told me like they reached out to me first because I was the weird paranormal kid, in their friend group growing up, and they were like, dude, there's I don't believe in ghosts, but I swear to God, and it's always like full bodied apparitions, very, very, very real, and then just like a movie, like gone like that. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
We have shadow figures here that has no problem with standing and staring at you.
Yeah.
That is one thing I had to get used to. And the first time I saw one, I thought I was losing my mind because I mean, shadow figures usually are in and out, or you caught it by a photo.
Hmm.
Here, they have no problem with just staring at you, standing and staring at you, and they don't want to talk to you. They honestly
No.
don't. It's more of a this is my area. If you have
Yeah.
to be around this area, be on the other side of the road. I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah. Don't take a picture of me.
Don't take
Don't
a
do
Mhm.
anything.
picture.
Yeah.
Don't come talking to me. And I'm like, yeah, they just really do not want to talk. They just want to be like, this is my little area. Please stay on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
That's
You stay
really
away from
cool.
me, I'll stay away from you.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? So I guess I'll ask, like, as I'm more interested in this, honestly. But Amanda, where are you from originally?
I grew up in Michigan, but then I moved here. I lived in North Carolina for a while before I moved out here.
Okay, so when you were in Michigan, um, did you do any paranormal investigations like when you were in the States?
Not too much there. It's not because I moved there after high school and I wasn't really I moved away from there after high school and I wasn't
Yeah.
really able to investigate there just because I grew up as a Baptist minister's daughter, so they had a very
Wow.
they had that they thought everything was a demon still. So if you did a paranormal, you're probably gonna get possessed or attached to have a demon attachment.
Yeah, I get that. Well, Irene, have you investigated other areas outside of Tokyo or Japan in general?
Not really. See, I'm originally from Canada,
Okay.
and I worked in a lot of haunted places too. So,
Really?
yeah, I worked in a haunted hotel in the Rocky Mountains. I've worked all over the place, and every place that I've worked at is always haunted. I don't know why. My manager always picked haunted places for me to work at, and I said, "Oh, thanks a lot." Written on my face. You're you're marked like you're marked for those places. I don't know why. It's just really crazy, creepy, and yeah, things happened where I worked at. Elevator doors would open up on certain floors, and hey, I didn't. Hey, I wasn't. I'm pressing the button again. This is not the floor I'm supposed to be going. But apparently, that spirit likes to open up the door on that particular floor, and I said, "Okay, I'm working in the bloody basement, right? The basement is a gift shop, and I'm working in the gift shop." I go, the basement. Okay, yeah, not a nice place to work at. Yeah, things would like to go flicker on and off, and crazy stuff would happen. So yeah, it's just I'm used to it. I went to Pearl Harbor too, and I got creeped out by something that tried to pull me in the water. So yeah, okay.
What tried to pull you in the water?
There's probably a seaman who was on, what's the name of that ship? The one in the water, the one that sunk at Pearl Harbor.
The Titanic?
No, the one at Pearl Harbor and
Oh,
Hawaii.
oh, a different movie with a hot guy and a love
Yeah,
story and
yeah,
a
yeah.
boat. Um, I don't know. I'm
But
terrible.
he pulled my neck, my shirt, and I was getting really dizzy. He was putting me in a trance, so I couldn't think straight, and yeah, I had to come out of it. And I said, "Okay, I'm good." And there's an officer looking at me, going like this. I go, "Is she all right?" Kind of like look at her, because I was this close to getting pushed in the water. But yeah, I'm okay. I came out of it. I said, "Okay, Mom, I can't do this." She goes, "Okay, I know, I saw it." And I go, "Okay, good." You're
That's so
okay.
gnarly.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think because he saw that I was Japanese, that probably it was my fault. What happened? That the ship sunk, and well,
Well,
blah blah blah.
I know Brandon, Brandon Alvis, founder of APRA Paranormal, and who I do haunted discoveries with, and we were on Ghost Hunters together. He has one of the craziest visual finds I've ever seen. If you guys look at the SS Queen Mary footage,
Ooh.
and it was just he was showing somebody how to work the camera. It was like literally this woman's like first paranormal investigation
Mm-hmm.
ever, and it was just a random thing, and you see a young girl
Mm.
hiding in like a cabinet, and it's like he had people analyze it, and there was somebody, I think somebody was like I think they were a mortician or no, like it's like the doctors, like the doctors who they look at the dead bodies, not a mortician. It's like the coroner, and somebody
Mm-hmm.
looked at like the eyes and like, no, 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 those are dead eyes. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way that the pupils dilate and everything is like those are dead
Mm-hmm.
eyes. So it's a really really cool piece of footage, and it has to do with a boat. So I don't know. I've always been interested in like different types of phenomena. The reason why I asked if like you guys investigate in other places is I'm really intrigued with like the cultural element of
Mm-hmm.
hauntings because in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of places I've kind of noticed that like the more there's a collective belief in something,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of seems like that
Mm-hmm.
spruces up activity. Have you guys
Mm-hmm.
like thought about that or encountered that?
I went to in Hiroshima this place called Kure, and it's a port dock, and um during World War II, it was sunk by American fighter pilots, and they brought artifacts and they put it in this crazy museum, and that museum is just alive. You wouldn't believe it. And and they showed the pictures of the officers, and I could hear them talking to me through their pictures. I go, okay, we're not doing this. I gotta go and sit down. So I had to remove myself and sit down some other place because, yeah, it was really active. Let's put it that way. And the artifacts were just like, yeah, they were telling stories, and you could hear the. Then they had the uniforms of what the officers wore, and oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't want to do this right now. I just want to walk through the museum, live through the museum just for just a couple more seconds ago. I asked my husband, I said, "Are we done here?" He goes, "Why? You want to leave?" I go, I go, "Yeah." Yeah, it was creepy as
That's
heck.
insane.
Yeah, and they brought a doll, Japanese doll, and put it in the shelf, and the doll was moving as I was talking. I was looking at it. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to do this. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this.
And then you did it anyway.
Yeah, I did it anyways.
You did?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's what I like. That's what I
I feel like we
like.
do a lot of that where we say we're not going to do this, so we just go ahead and do it anyways. Because at the moment we're like, you know what, YOLO.
Oh man, I mean, it was like the second episode of Haunted Discoveries. I like offered up my soul to this like witch's tree so we could get like footage of this woman that they see walking up the stairs, and we ended up getting it. And then I was like, oh, but I think whoever took it just gave it back. It's like it's not really worth much. They're just like, whatever.
I don't want that. Take it back.
Stinks, dude. It's like your soul stinks, dude.
You need to take a shower.
Like tuna fish left in a vent. It's disgusting.
Spirits here are obviously a lot older than the ones in the US.
Mhm.
And here, they don't trust equipment. You can tell them, oh, it's not going to hurt you, but they're like, I don't know you. Why should I trust you? I don't know what this is. Especially
Yeah.
like cat balls. You tell them, oh, it's okay. It's just license for you touch it. They're like, yeah, no.
So how do you interact with them?
I talk to them.
You talk?
Hmm.
I wonder if like you go to places and you get like maybe items or artifacts or things that could be like kind of gently moved,
Hmm.
that's like from that time period.
Yeah,
That
and
could
that's what
be,
someone was saying is they
yeah,
think they need to come out with a light or something, but it looks more like a candle. So this way, if you're not used to electricity and you see a candle, well, you might trust a candle more than you would a cat ball.
Yeah.
yeah. I think like specifically in like that cultural region, you kind of find like depending on the time period that you're in, try that out. And I feel like oftentimes too, it's like you don't have to worry so much about getting it right. I
Hmm.
think what ends up ultimately resonating with whatever entities are there is just your fight to try and address any
Hmm.
type of disconnection that's there, because
Hmm.
that's a very human thing.
Hmm.
If you ever watch a movie and there's a character who's trying to meet somebody halfway and there's always a character who isn't, and then even though in our own lives we can be either one of these characters because we try to justify our actions to ourselves, when
Hmm.
we're watching a third person do it in a movie, it's very clear which character sucks and which character is awesome. The one who's
Hmm.
always trying to meet you halfway or more than halfway is the one you
Hmm.
always love. So I think that if you're trying to resonate with someone in the afterlife, the
Hmm.
key, the operative word there being life, right?
Hmm.
If you're
Hmm.
showing life, which is a fight for any type of attacking a disconnection,
Hmm.
that's what I feel like. Oh, they're working hard. They're trying to communicate with me. And that vibe that you're giving off, I feel like is what kind of sets off activity for me anyway. I don't know if you guys have noticed similar experiences.
Oh, the only thing that I've noticed is that I heard a spirit say, "Stay with me, uh, unalive yourself and stay with me in a cemetery." And I said, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that."
Holy moly. Do you think? Oh, that was another thing, not to cut you off, too. It's like you mentioned, Amanda, something saying people saying stuff about like demons and stuff. Do you think that oftentimes these negative entities, like something you just mentioned, Irene, like is that is that like a demonic or otherworldly thing, or is that just like you have like all of these years and collections of just negative energy, and it kind of creates this like pseudo type of haunting?
I
It's
believe
not. I
some.
wouldn't say it's a demon, especially. I mean, it's just. It's also how they died, especially here.
Yeah.
I mean, Japan is mostly a Buddhist country, and they
Yeah.
have a belief that if you're not happy in this life,
Uh-huh.
you can unalive yourself and start again in the next life.
Yeah.
So that's also why Irene has more of those kind of spirits around her.
Yeah. The thing is with spirits that unalive themselves in Japan, you don't really. It's a rule that you don't interact with them because some of them can be jealous, some of them can be unhappy, some of them can be crazy angry. So you just stay away from them and keep to yourself and just say, yeah, yeah, okay, bye, like that to them, other than talking to them because you really don't want to have a conversation with them. It's just the rule here with spirits who unalive themselves. Uh, I, I've lived in a place where 18 people who have unalived themselves. It's happened 1 year after the other every year, and it's residual energy. And you just don't want to interact with them, and they'll come out, especially if you're angry or if the kids started fighting, they'll come out and they'll start laughing at you, and you could see a full body operation of that.
That's freaking awesome.
It's And they'll start going ha 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 ha, like you're angry and you're upset, and they'll start going ha 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 at you, and you don't want that energy around you, so you try to keep really calm and quiet until you move out. Then you move out, you're going, whew, that was bad. And there's no team that'll help you with a place that's really badly, really horribly haunted. So the best thing to do is pack up and leave. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
After 20 years, I packed up and I left.
Oh my goodness. Well, at
Oh,
least you
yeah.
got out of there.
Yeah, yeah. And I only live 45 minutes away from it. So, yeah. You can't seem to really get away from it, anyways. No matter how much you try, you have to run away. You run, actually. You don't leave, you run. That's how bad it is.
So how did you get your start into the paranormal?
Um, I grew up in a haunted house in New City, New York,
Mm,
near the Hudson. I had a really kind of crazy experience my first night there with my older
mm,
brother and mother, and we experienced that. And then for years after that, there was just a lot of strange occurrences. Cabinets in the kitchen opening and closing by themselves. I'd see like my toys kind of moving in the middle of the night. You'd hear voices. Really, really, really bad nightmares. My brother had this
mm,
imaginary friend in the garage that he said was tie shoelaces around his neck. And then come to
mm,
find out when I turned 18 and started like looking into that and looking into the history of the house, I discovered that the man was, people told me it was a very, very, very religious Orthodox Jewish community. So
mm,
they didn't report suicides as suicides,
mm.
because that was a big taboo.
Yeah.
So yeah, it turns out the guy there, I talked to three separate neighbors, and they all said like, no, he hung himself in the garage. So it's just like weird things when I started investigating the house. And growing up, I grew up Muslim, and my family, especially if like you grew up Muslim from like a real kind of like peasant background, like they're very superstitious and they kind of believe in a lot of like they believe in jinn.
Mhm.
So my parents always said it was jinn.
Mm,
But I just kind of saw it more as I don't know. I didn't know if it was jinn. It didn't feel like jinn because the nature
mm,
of the energy felt like it changed after a while. And for the longest time, I just wanted to know whether or not I was crazy. Did we just kind of like collectively imagine this as a family? So, yeah, I just would do paranormal investigations. I didn't really like many of the shows. I thought they were kind of garbage and very overproduced and not a real representation of what paranormal investigations are like. And I felt like they were just cheesy and just very poorly made. And then a friend of mine had forwarded me a casting call for a paranormal series. He's like, I feel like you should do it, man. I didn't know what it was for. And I finally decided to do it, like, you know, because I'd seen them before and people had passed them on to me before, but I always kind of just, but I'm like, let me try, see whatever. Something felt different about it. So I really worked on like, I sent in a story of the house I grew up in. They emailed me back. They asked me to send in a tape talking about my theories on the paranormal. And I must have recorded that tape friggin' 15 times because I'm like, this is, and then like finally when I uploaded it, I was like, oh, like this is what I really want to say, because I wanted to represent what my work was about and all that. Yeah. And then ended up getting finding out I was a casting call for a revival of A&E's Ghost Hunters, and then ended up, and it was like a competition. They had us there with like, there was like 30 something people. I think, I don't remember how many there were. There were a lot of people there. And they basically, for a whole week, they just kind of ran you through a gamut of different camera tests, interviews, psychological evaluations, like all this stuff. And I was just like, the psych eval was like, there was like 100 questions. I just put C right down the middle on all of them. I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. I was like,
Yes,
it's okay, no problem.
I just did that. And then I went and, you know, I talked to the psychologist. She's like, oh, you finished the test really fast. I'm like, oh, it was easy. She's like, how's that? I'm like, I just wrote down the opposite of whatever I thought. And I knew that wouldn't have come off crazy that way. And so we just kind of like joked around, and then they did camera testing. And yeah, I just kind of went in with the mentality of, don't make friends with anybody. You're not here to make friends. You're here to give your honest, unadulterated viewpoint on the paranormal. I didn't care about getting a show. I didn't care about getting on TV. I had a very good job, a very good setup. Like I really didn't care. What I cared about was the opportunity to kind of like go on TV and stand for something in terms of the work that I did and like bring that to light. And there was only evidently that I felt one person who I felt was working with the same thing, and that was Brandon Alvis. And we didn't really talk that much. There was another guy, Jeff Santos. He ended up not getting on the show, but he was a very, very sincere guy, but very kind of muted personality. And I was trying to encourage him to kind of like, I'm like, you got to voice those opinions, man, like for the camera test. And did a camera test, got a call, and then went on Ghost Hunters, and then COVID hit, and then Ghost Hunters was on for 2 seasons, and then it got off. And then Brandon and I wrote a book. And then we always talked about our own show in terms of like how we would do things. And then we developed Haunted Discoveries, pitched it around to like, I think 49 different places before we finally got one. And then we got a bite with Stargazer. And then we ended up having a collaboration with Blue Ant Media in Canada and Haunt TV now. And now it's on Canal Plus, and now it's on Pluto Nordic. So it's like the show's getting around. So yeah, we got a 4th season of the show coming up. And then we just got greenlit for more episodes. So we're busy. We're working.
Wonderful. How do you think the spirits would react to you being a different kind of nationality, and would they find it different for you, or would they react the same way?
I think it's basically, what are you working with on a human level? I think if you're trying to go at it technically first, like that's not the way to go about it for me anyway. Like in a paranormal investigation, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm an empath or empathetic, but like I go in there, we research these cases, we research these locations, we research the people associated with these locations. We spend months and months and months and months in pre-production. We lose locations because they get dropped out, and then we have to replace them with other backup ones, and then we got to go and redo all that other work. We're completely sleep deprived.
Mm,
And we're not only on the show, but we're producing the show, and we're making
mhm,
sure everything goes swimmingly. We're devising the experiments. We're doing everything, and Brandon's
mhm,
editing it. So we have a lot of skin in the game, and I think because of that, um, I'm a guy from New Jersey. Like, my name's
mm,
Mustafa, and like, I grew up Muslim, but like,
mm.
I'm culturally, I'm a deli owner. Like, I have, I'm like, I have more in common, I think, with that. But for
Mm,
some reason, we go to all these different parts of the country, and we get activity, and whatever the
mm.
work it is that we're doing resonates. And I think it's just because we're really, really, really trying our fucking hardest just to give a shit. Like, that's the biggest reason. That's I think trumps everything. If you don't have that, it doesn't matter. Why are you even doing the work? There's
Yeah,
no point in doing it. It's not making your life better. So why are you doing it? Why?
yeah,
Just to get somebody some lights to blip up? Okay, wow,
yeah,
congratulations.
yeah,
Like, wow, that's so
yeah.
great. You got a box to go off. What the hell does it
Mm,
mean to you? Like,
mm,
so that to me, I
mm.
get very offended a lot of times when I see these shows, because
Yeah,
they bastardize these stories about like real
yeah,
people, real locations.
yeah.
And it's like,
Mm,
you're spending the time on making the show anyway. Why
mhm,
not like try harder to connect with this? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
that to me just
yeah,
gets me mad.
yeah. In Japan, there's no such place as thing as finding information or history because there's no such thing. Even Amanda will tell you they don't have vital records. They don't have microfiche. They don't have anything in it. They don't have a library that'll tell you what happened there, unless you look at certain history books about a place. There's no way that you'll find any information about any place here. If they did have it, they destroyed it because they know it's haunted. They just don't want it to get out that it's haunted, right?
100%.
And it's really hard. Um, Even I tried finding out certain places of where I used to live and the history and the background of the land. I couldn't find anything either. So good luck in that one. Like, yeah, it's not. It doesn't exist. Um, I found out certain places that are haunted from just older people will tell me, and there are certain areas that after the World War II, they made a park out of it, but you don't go there after 9 o'clock because they put up chains on the, and you're not supposed to be in there because you will not come out the next day. So there are places that are really, really dangerous. And so Amanda and I, we usually try and think we pick and choose which places we think we're gonna go next. If we're gonna go together, what places we're gonna go, what places that we can be sure that we'll be okay tomorrow. So yeah, you have to pick and choose wisely of what place you want to visit. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how grounded you are. They don't give a hoot. So yeah,
I feel that.
it's just people say, "Oh yeah, you're crazy. Oh yeah, I can go in there." I said, "Yeah, be my guest, but don't tell me that you don't feel good tomorrow, and don't tell me that you're gonna go to the hospital." And there are people who've done that, who've been to a haunted place in Japan, young Japanese people who've been to certain places that are taboo to go, and yeah, they're no longer alive anymore. It's just like that here. You have to be very careful. Even even if you're being respectful, you have to be extremely careful. And this is one of the countries that's really crazy about that.
Mhm.
And people will tell you, don't go there. Even if they don't believe in paranormal, they'll say don't go there. Because it's known to be very dangerous. The spirits are very dangerous in that particular area. And yeah, and like it's like Japan is like a really old country, and so you got all kinds of. It's a mixture of good and bad and crazy and evil all at once. So yeah, you just want to be
Fortunately,
just
the evil's pretty evil though.
yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah.
And even Amanda will tell you that she's gonna keep to herself. She's gonna do what she's gonna do. She's gonna ignore it, and she's gonna go about her own business, right?
Yeah. That's the ones
Yeah,
who like are like, I don't want to talk.
no,
Like, okay,
I
I'm not gonna
just
talk. I'm not gonna push you. I'm not gonna make you mad.
yeah, we're just gonna go out and do our own business, and yeah, you do what you do, I do what I do. We're good. Yeah, when you're dealing with an old country like that, you have a mixture of you got old samurai warriors who some of them were good, some of them were bad, some of them did bad things to other people, and some of them were, I don't know. Yeah, where she lives, she has I think it was 25, 27 or 25, I forgot the number of them, Christians that were crucified on a cross alive, including the priests, where she lives. And it's on a big hill. You'd have to take an elevator to visit that place. And it's really creepy haunted too. Nagasaki has the first ship from Spain and from Portugal and places like that, and Holland, and so there's a mixture around where she is. And yeah, a lot, that's why you have a lot of dark entities where she is. It's just different, and something will make you sick. Something will make you feel exactly how they felt. and uh,
That's very, very intense.
and even if you don't believe in paranormal, even if you're not really into it, if you're the slightest bit of an empath, you're gonna feel it, and it's gonna make you really sick.
Mhm.
Because you have the Nagasaki atomic bomb, and I tell you that there's a museum, there's an atomic bomb museum. I went there. I was so sick. I couldn't even sit. I had to lay down, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. I was like, "Can we leave? Can we get out of here fast?" After 4 hours, I was turning green and orange and every color of the rainbow, and finally we walked out. And I said, "Ugh, thank God." But just walking out of there makes you feel better.
That's
'Cause-
gnarly. Guys, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I got time for one more question and I got to get back to my kids.
Is
Okay.
there any place you've been that maybe was like too intense or too scary for you, or somewhere
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
just wouldn't want to go back to investigate?
Yeah, this is going to sound like a total sales pitch, but in the final episode of the fourth season, we ended up investigating this undisclosed location somewhere in Harlan, Kentucky. And
Mm.
uh, I can't talk too much about it, but
Mhm.
it's something that like you're almost afraid to kind of like tell people what you experienced, that they might like think that you're like insane, and like beyond levels of like even like a paranormal person would be like you're you're crazy.
Mm.
The nature of what we found or things we found, like, thank God we got as many different pieces of data. We're talking thermal imaging, we're talking electron multiplying camera, which is what we use to monitor light anomalies. We're talking regular video camera, and we're talking parabolic sound microphones, we're talking our own lav microphones, our boom pole mics. So it's like we have a lot of audio and visual data of different kinds. And the find there kind of led us into, I don't want to say discipline, or an area of research that we don't really have much expertise. But after we relayed our experiences and the data that we gathered to these experts in this field, they they believe that the nature of paranormal phenomena is very, very closely related to other types of supernatural and bizarre phenomena, and that they share a lot of key factors that are essentially essentially different on a dimensional level. Like it's a dimensional thing, whatever it is.
Mm.
And there's I don't know. I mean, it's like quantum physics, whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but if you want to encounter something that will completely change your life and terrify the hell out of you, go
Mm-hmm.
and spend a few hours in Harlan County, Kentucky, in the mountains. Um, it's there's something there,
Mm.
and it's smarter than you,
Mm.
and it behaves in a very, 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 very weird way.
I bet even just going to the area, I bet it picks you out and it pegs you already because it knows that you're there, you're going there, right?
There's multiple people who've talked about this, and like the thing I love about it is when I interview them, it's like, when you've interviewed as many people as we have, and gone on the road, and there's people who try to like come on the show or like have us come check out our location. Is like a lot of times we can usually tell when someone's kind of full of crap. um I'm telling you right now, man, there's something. Like everybody who talked about this stuff, I was like, oh, and then we experienced exactly what they said.
Mm.
So that to me was like, I'm scared to go back, but we're
Mm.
definitely gonna find a way to go back. Anyway,
Mm.
guys, I really gotta head
Thank you
out.
so
I'm
much
so
for
sorry.
joining us today. We
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you. Let's do this
Bye
again.
bye.
Bye.
Everyone else
Oh,
out there, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
bye.